There we are. Due to circumstances beyond our control, Wake Up Wenatchee Valley is back for another week of television. Happy Monday to you. I am Dan Kuntz alongside News Director Steve Hare, Cat in control, and for the first time in quite some time, we're back to fully staffed here.
It's an oxymoron for you.
What's that?
Happy Monday.
No, Mondays are good. Monday, Control Alt Delete, new week, new challenges.
That's true.
New excitement. I got no problems with Monday.
It's Reset Monday.
It's Reset Monday. And it is really, and it's funny you bring that up because spring break is over. Kids are back to school.
That's right.
On a sports-related note, the NHL regular season ended yesterday. The playoffs for the National Hockey League, sure sign of spring, begins Thursday. The NBA's regular season wraps up, I believe, Wednesday of this week, and then they start this weekend. So you got the NHL and NBA playoffs beginning this week. You got the Masters came and went.
Yeah.
We're back to full staff. We had Grant was out most of last week. He'll be back today, we're told. One of our top content producers, one of our content producers anyway, JC Beck, he was on vacation last week, so we were kind of mixing and matching and juggling.
Back to full strength again.
But yeah, and of course that's the good news. The bad news is that it's Monday, and that means for Steve and I and Kat, we're here and we work, but we don't work real hard.
Speak for yourself.
We have a great show for you today. My guest in the second half is Rhoda Barron. It's the third annual production of her Dangerous Women show coming up at the Snowy Owl Theater on Sunday the 15th. And this year's production is Victorious. It's a great conversation with Rhoda. You're going to like that in the second half of the show.
Something having to do with women and voting.
Yes, it's about the 19th Amendment, which passed the last I checked. So Rhoda will be our guest. We got sports highlights for the Wenatchee Wild. It's off to the Fred Page Cup Finals. They dispatched Troy with no real problems at all in front of a raucous Town Center crowd on Friday night. We got the highlights for you right here. We'll wrap up the Masters. We got Today in History. We got the Obscure Holiday. We got birthdays. We got for a Monday, we're kind of have a show.
Looks like it's going to be a busy week.
It's going to be a busy week. Lots going on.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm glad we're back to fully staffed. No doubt about that. So you ready to go get them?
Let's check around the valley.
Let's go around the valley. By the way, it's going to be the best day of the week.
Oh, here we go.
It's going to be today. Look at that.
Look at the greening of the hills. Yeah. Now we're seeing it in real earnest now.
And we did set a record for rainfall on Saturday. By the way, they keep these from 12 midnight to 11:59. That's how they do it. And on Saturday, we got 0.45 inches of rain, which tied the record for April 7th. Back in 2013, we also had 0.45 inches of rain. But it didn't really come down as heavy as we were anticipating.
No, but it was steady.
It was steady.
It was steady, and hey, I think it'll benefit certainly the irrigators and the power generators.
My lawn is as green as it's been in quite some time.
Yeah.
So that is the cross camera pulled quite a ways back, probably about as far back as it can go. And remember, on Friday, we couldn't even use the camera because we couldn't see anything. So best day of the week, weather-wise, today.
Wow.
Then things are going to be unsettled, so get out and enjoy today if you can. Camera number 2, as selected by Kat, our producer, is Rondo Rock.
Favorite time of the year. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes. We didn't have reports of any rock slides on US 97A. That's good news. That sometimes can happen, loosens up the soil. And
I didn't hear of any small stream flooding at all. So
I think we're fine. I think we dodged a bullet. Good morning to Rondo Rock. We are the #1 rated live local television show in the 7 o'clock hour in the Rondo Rock area. We just got the ratings in on Friday.
Right behind Romper Room.
Right behind Romper Room. Yeah, Romper Room finished second. And Kuka, Friend, and Ollie finished third, surprisingly enough. Camera 3 takes us to, that's the Waterville camera, is that right, Kat? Turned around, so Waterville camera gives us lots of different options, Steve. Sometimes you spin it all the way around and you can actually see the hamlet of Waterville. This morning we can see Aniat, the beautiful Aniat. And look how much higher up the snow is now. From just a couple of weeks ago, the snow was creeping down there in the Aniat Valley. Now it's working its way back up. Good morning, Aniat. It's good to have you on board the Wenatchee Valley on the far left of your screen. You can see Mission Ridge. One more thing. Boy, I'm glad you're on it today, Steve. Last weekend of Mission Ridge operations is this weekend. They're done for the year after Saturday and Sunday, so remember that.
Great spring skiing conditions.
Yeah, if you haven't skied yet this year, you got 2 more days to do it, this Saturday and Sunday. And they shut her down for the year. Camera number 4 takes us to Bear Mountain and beautiful Lake Chelan. Just gorgeous up there. I like to go as far up the lake as possible when I visit Lake Chelan in the summertime. Nothing wrong with the lower part of the lake near Chelan, but it's usually choppy. because of all the boats and jet skis and water skis that are running around. But the farther up lake you go, it gets more peaceful. It gets more, there's thicker forests. There's all kinds of little places to pull off, little beachheads here and there that you can pull
little
off.
Campgrounds along the way.
Yeah, it's beautiful up there. Higher up you go.
Up to Lucerne and Holden Village,
So there you go. That is our cameras around the valley, courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless network. Let's do your weather forecast from the National Weather Service. And as I mentioned before, today is going to be the nice day. Just a brief ridge of high pressure, Steve, and that's it. So it's not going to last very long today. We're going to have lots of sunshine, 63, just about normal. No wind in the forecast.
Boy, that didn't really materialize yesterday like
we had very little wind at all yesterday. It was supposed to be very gusty, which was fine with me. I was out at the golf course yesterday morning. Didn't have to deal with the wind. Weak system comes in tonight into Tuesday. We are going to get rain tomorrow between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. By Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening, the rain will be tapering off. Wednesday, weak system, a little bit of light rain, most of it in the afternoon. Thursday and Friday, we're looking at partly sunny skies. And then another system rolls in just in time for the weekend. That weekend system is not packing a big punch, but it's also going to cover up the sun. Light rain possible Saturday night on Sunday. Heaviest rain of this week is going to be between 8 a.m. and 12 noon tomorrow. And then we have hit and miss showers, a couple of sun breaks here and there. All of those temperatures, with the exception of today, are below normal, so it is going to be cool. Anyway, I hate having to do a patch report on the 9th day of April, but we have to do it because Stevens is closed right now. They're hoping to reopen Stevens at 8 o'clock. They already did the avalanche control work on Stevens Pass. That's done.
Brought down quite a bit of debris, though.
Yeah, it knocked down much more than they were anticipating.
The lineup started, you can say.
Yep, so it is closed. Milepost 58 one direction and milepost 64 the other direction. They already did the blast, but a bunch of snow came down, more than they thought. So they're shooting for 8 a.m. As you can see, there are cars stacked up at the summit of Stevens Pass. By the way, the other two major mountain passes are fine. I-90 and Blewett, no advisories, no restrictions. Snow Tuesday night, Wednesday, and Wednesday night, but not a lot of snow, Steve. Intermittent snow showers, a couple of inches here, a couple of inches there, nothing big. And that's Stevens Pass. Stevens is going to get a little bit more snow in the middle of the week. I-90 and Blewett not expecting any snow at all. I can't wait till I can just simply say I don't have to do a pass report anymore.
Yeah. Now, as far as the studded tires are concerned, I think there's a little bit of a grace period there.
You got till Sunday, the 15th. Speaking of that, taxes, of course, you don't have to get them in.
Don't go there.
On the 15th. Mine are done. In fact, I already got my refund.
Don't go there. I haven't finished mine yet. No.
One of my favorite memories as a kid growing up is Dad doing the taxes on the kitchen table. Huge kitchen table. We had a big family, Got a huge kitchen table. And on April 14th, Dad's there doing all that stuff. Yeah. I did my taxes. I claimed you, by the way, as a dependent and your 4 kids, just in case the IRS calls.
Well, I guess it's first come, first serve, isn't it?
I beat you to it.
You beat me to it.
8 minutes after the hour on a Monday, the 9th day of April. Let's go. It's clear skies, 43 degrees. Steve has the news, exciting news for Clyde and Ruth Ballard. I do 2 lovely, awesome people. They had a great weekend. I hope you had a great weekend, too. What happened over the weekend? The gentleman to my left will handle those details when we come back. Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel. Your home for the 2018 Washington State Apple Blossom Festival is the NCW Life Channel. Be sure to watch the Kais Fiber Youth Parade Saturday, April 28th, the Les Schwab Classy Chassis Parade on Friday, May 4th, and the Stem Milk Growers Grand Parade Saturday, May 5th, right here. Brought to you by Merry Maids. Relax, it's done. And by Schmidt Electric, serving the West since 1960. Your home for the 2018 Apple Blossom Festival is the NCW Life Channel.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Well, good morning and welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on this Monday, the 9th day of April. Here's what's happening around north central Washington. Our top story right now, Wenatchee police say a suspected pimp was arrested Friday for assaulting and robbing 2 prostitutes and then holding them and a 3rd woman against their will at a Wenatchee hotel. Police issued a news release Friday detailing the sequence of events starting when one of the alleged victims escaped the hotel room and then fled to the police station where she notified authorities. She reportedly told police that she and her cousin had been working as prostitutes at the hotel when the suspect, identified as 27-year-old Damon Ziegler of Tacoma, assaulted them in the room and then stole their money. Ziegler was accompanied by a 3rd woman who the victims reported was also assaulted by Ziegler. Police responded to the hotel where they located Ziegler inside his car in the parking lot with that 3rd woman. Ziegler faces multiple felony charges, and the woman that was accompanying him was also arrested on an outstanding warrant. Chelan County District Court will have a new judge next year after Nancy Harmon withdrew her name from the ballot. Harmon has served 3 terms on the bench, but said in an interview with the Wenatchee World that she decided not to seek another term, in her words, after considerable thought. She says she wants to spend more time with her family. Harmon was first elected to replace Judge Tom Warren in 2006. So far, only one candidate has expressed his intentions to file for the position. Wenatchee defense attorney Kyle Mott has filed candidacy papers with the State Public Disclosure Commission. Also, construction work is nearing completion on a new mental health treatment facility and crisis stabilization center here in the Wenatchee Valley. Here's that story. The new facility is located in the remodeled Parkside Nursing Home on the south side of town. The operator, American Behavioral Health Systems, has announced the hiring of Dr. Julie Ricard, a licensed psychologist in Wenatchee, as its program director. She founded the Suicide Prevention Coalition of North Central Washington back in 2012 due to the rise in local suicides. Now, the center will be the first 24-hour, 7-day-a-week facility to serve Chelan, Douglas, and Grant counties. In fact, the center is slated to open in May, and they're currently looking to fill a variety of positions. If you're interested in applying for a job, submit your resumes to mpriebe, that's M-P-R-I-E-B-E, at abhsinc.net. You can get more details also on our website at ncwlife.com. Also today, Chelan County Auditor Skip Moore says new election rules could place a greater burden on his staff. Moore appeared as a guest on the TVW program Inside Olympia last week. The program focuses on unfunded government mandates and the financial stress they place on local government. Moore cited the new same-day voter registration law as a case in point.
We certainly are concerned about how to implement them and to maintain our process and the integrity of our election system. We welcome the changes. There are changes that provide better access and more access to the voters, which is always important. We're in the business of doing elections. We want people to vote. However, when we start looking at same-day registration, for example, this is going to increase a workload of already busy staff as we push forward to the election day. And of course, no funding has come with any of these increase of services that we're providing. That is going to be the difficult part on the county level, is how do we ensure that we're doing the legislation as proposed, serving the voters, but how we're going to pay for it. Because right now there is no funding, and that comes around to every jurisdiction pays for their election, from the smallest water district to your public utility districts. When we conduct an election for them, we send them a bill. When we send the bill to the state in the even years, it doesn't go paid. So
explain that. So you, in the odd years, the state's paying for statewide issues
yes.
and elections, but in the even years, a year like 2018,
2018,
the state's not helping you cover the cost of running the election in November.
That's
the primary.
correct. When we, this year, the primary as well as the general, there will be will be state issues, at least on the general we know. There may not be any state issues on the primary because of the way the cycle works. However, that general election, even though the state may take up a third at times of the ballot space on the front of that ballot in the work as far as initiative or referendums, we will send a bill. We have to parse out the costs. So any player in that election gets billed fairly, yet the part that would have been sent to the state never gets sent. The county ends up paying for that.
So there you have it. That's Skip Moore, Chelan County Auditor on TVW. The Unfunded Mandates program will be rebroadcast on NCW Live TV at a yet-to-be-determined date and time, so you'll want to stay tuned for more on that. One final note here this morning, the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival has selected former state legislator and House Speaker Clyde Ballard and his wife Ruth as the grand marshals for this year's Washington State Apple Blossom Festival. Festival Administrator Darcy Christopherson and pastor of Gospel Communities of Grace City Church surprised the Ballards at a Sunday 9 a.m. church service yesterday. Clyde came from humble beginnings as a migrant worker from Izard County, Arkansas. Ruth was born and raised here in Wenatchee. Clyde was the drum major for the Wenatchee High School's Golden Apple Band. At age 18, he married Ruth. By the age of 20, he was climbing from bag boy to general manager at Wenatchee's Peter Rabbit grocery store chain. Ruth at that time was working at Sears. Now, the Ballards went on to start Ballard Ambulance. They grew the business to include several divisions that serve the citizens of north central Washington, such as one of the state's largest medical supply stores and the first licensed air ambulance service in the state. So congratulations to good friends of NCW Life Channel, Clyde and Ruth Ballard, and way to go. I think it's a great selection for this year's.
How was your weekend?
It was a great weekend.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's, enjoyed watching the Masters
As did I.
and watching the Mariners win on Saturday, and then getting snowed out yesterday.
It snowed out yesterday. It was 27 degrees first
Yeah.
pitch on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's cold for baseball.
But their bats heated up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
well,
played well
11-4.
considering it was below freezing, which
Yeah.
is not. My Yankees had a bad weekend. Boy, we just blew leads left and right. Baseball is a marathon, not a sprint, but I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little worried about my Yanks.
Well, they miss Mariano
Yeah, well,
Rivera.
if he came back out of retirement, that would be remarkable.
He
'cause
could
he's
probably do just as well
like
as he
50.
did before. You know.
The
do any
news
worse.
with Grant Olson, we're assuming Grant's back today. He's scheduled to be back. I guess we'll find out here in
He's
about...
watching right now, I know.
Yeah, we'll find out in about 42 minutes when he's supposed to walk in the door. Grant Olson will anchor the newscast at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And 10 o'clock, Eric Grandstrom will handle sports. Grant is also our weather guy, so between the two of them, you're going to get everything you need to know to wrap up your Monday in one tiny little package we'd like to call the news.
That's it.
At 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. You can also watch it on demand. Late in the afternoon, early in the evening, just go to ncwlife.com and click on the Watch Now icon. You'll see it right there, or it's usually right on our front page. And at the bottom of your screen is all the different ways you can get a hold of us. Everything but sending us a telegraph, and you can probably do that as well. Steve?
We're always looking for news stories, folks. So if you think of a topic or an issue that we think we should be covering here at NCW Life, contact us any number of ways. First on our website at ncwlife.com. Just click the little Contact Us tab at the top of the page there and communicate with us that way. Facebook, Twitter, another good mode of communication. And then our email address is news@ncwlife.com. And as always, we're here for you for breaking news. And if you see something happening out there, call us on the hotline. That's 888-NCWL, 888-6295.
Just about 20 minutes after the hour, clear skies, 43 degrees, 63 gobs of sunshine today, and then whoop, the rest of the week, not looking so good, except Thursday and Friday, some sun breaks. Take a quick break. When we come back, sports. It's off to the finals for the Wenatchee Wild. They went to the Fred Page Cup Finals. Highlights from Friday night's victory and a whole bunch more still to be had. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 42 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life Channel.
High school sports is back this spring on the NCW Life Channel. Do you like baseball? We've got you covered with the Wenatchee Panthers and the Eastmont Wildcats. How about softball? We have you covered there too with fast pitch action right here. How about lacrosse? Yep, got you covered there too with the Wenatchee Valley Thunder. And of course, there's boys soccer. Whatever your interest, we've got you covered on your home for high school spring sports, the NCW Live Channel.
We know crunch.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, 21 minutes after the hour on this Monday, the 9th day of April 2018. Sports, it's year 10 in the den for the Wenatchee Wild, and it's been a very memorable year indeed, and they're still going to play hockey. I love it. Wenatchee defeating Trail 6-1 Friday in front of over 3,000 fans at the Town Toyota Center. They are the champions of the Interior Division, and now it's to the BCHL Finals after a scoreless first period. Wenatchee dominated the first period, but they came out firing in the second half. Familiar names lighting the lamp. Art Checker with the call on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network.
And then to Morton at the top of the circle. Sent down low to Weatherby. Threads it through. Back score! Jasper Weatherby at the side of the net was looking to slide it through the crease over to the weak side. It got broken up, came back to him, and he slapped it home. Power play goal for the Wild. And they lead it 1-0. Inboards gets tangled up with Chernenkov. And the Smoke Eaters lost it. Shot just wide by Vanderbeck. He stole it away, and it got turned away. Now it's to Souter. He scores! And then tripped up with Sasaki back the other direction. Here come the Smoke Eaters. Shot and a score from the left wing. Blaine Caton, after the Wild player got toppled. Carried in by Vanderbeck. Right side, Vanderbeck to Zek. He shoots. He scores! Played by Demon over on the far side. He absorbs the check. Zek fires it ahead for Weatherby. He gets in behind the D. He shoots. He scores! Souter jams it a little further up the wall, and it's Weatherby. Will take off 2-on-1. Weatherby with Vanderbeck. Weatherby to Vanderbeck. He shoots. He scores! On the 2-on-1 break. He'll throw it right back down to the left corner. Weatherby's there. In front, Vanderbeck shoots and he scores. A little icing on the cake, maybe, as A.J. Vanderbeck gets his second of the night at 15:34. And that's going to be it. The clock expires. The Fred Page Cup Finals are coming to Wenatchee.
Yes, Wenatchee advances to face Prince George. It is the Fred Page Cup. The winner will be the champion of the British Columbia Hockey League. They also have home ice advantage. That means game one of the best-of-7 series is Friday night at 7:05. Remember, way back in the Wild's second year of existence when they were in the NAHL, they made it all the way to the NAHL championship game before they lost to the St. Louis Bandits in the Robertson Cup. So 8 seasons later, in a brand new league, Wenatchee has a chance to make history. Go Wild. Well, not long before the rains came on Friday, area baseball teams are able to get some games in. The Les Schwab Prep scoreboard is on your screen now. Cascade lost both ends of the doubleheader, first to Blaine 10-2, then 12-4 to Meridian. Blaine then traveled to Chelan to take on the Goats for its second game of the day, and they fell by a final of 7-4. Eastmont hosted Moses Lake in a Big 9 doubleheader at Dan White Field. Struggled defensively in the opener. They committed 6 errors in a 6-2 loss. A tight nightcap was made less so by a 3-run home run by the Chiefs in the top of the 5th inning. Moses Lake went on for the 8-5 victory. Saturday's twin bill for Chelan and Connell postponed due to the rain. Such was the case for the Saturday schedule in softball. Lots of stuff scheduled, not a lot of stuff played. Chelan and Cashmere's doubleheaders had to be postponed. Cascade was able to get in a couple of games with Baker on Friday. They won the opener 4-1. They dropped the nightcap 14-3. Les Schwab Prep boys soccer scoreboard. Chelan and Warden postponed Friday, but Eastmont remained undefeated in Big 9 play. They went down to Yakima and defeated Eisenhower 4-2. Prep schedule for today: high school golf has the Big 9 boys playing their third pod. It's at the Wenatchee Golf and Country Club today. Heads up, guys, the greens are really fast. I know, I played yesterday. In tennis, Wenatchee will host Eisenhower at 3. Quincy travels to Chelan and Antiochus Epicetus, both at 4 o'clock. Well, the Mariners in Minnesota, they were snowed out Sunday. I kid you not. But on Saturday, not bad. Seattle's coldest game in franchise history in that 11-4 victory. Game time temperature, first pitch, 27 degrees. Kyle Sager braved the cold with a 2-run home run in his 1,000th career hit. Seattle is in Kansas City to begin a 3-game series today. Marco Gonzalez will get the nod for the Mariners. First pitch, 5:15. And Patrick Reed held on to his lead at the Masters. A furious comeback attempt by Jordan Spieth. Rory McIlroy couldn't make any putt. So Mr. Reed is your Masters champion. Jordan Spieth, 1 shot shy of tying the course record. He shot a 64. He finished at in 3rd place. Exciting Masters yesterday afternoon at Augusta National. You must say that with gravitas. It is 26 minutes after the hour. April 9th, the obscure holiday of the day today. Today is Name Yourself Day. You don't like your name? Change it. For the day, anyway. You can change your first name, your middle name, your last name. Just give yourself a new name today. Fill in the blank. Today I'm going to be Dan. I just don't have the creativity on a Monday morning to change my name. Don't like your name? Change your name. Today's the day to do it. Today is International Name Yourself Day, as proclaimed by somebody. Don't know. Wikipedia, I think, is where I found it. 27 minutes after the hour, it is time for Today in History. 4 events to pass along to you. The Civil War ended effectively on this date 153 years ago, April 9th, 1865, when General Lee, Robert E. Lee of the Army of the Northern Virginia, surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant at the Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia. The war effectively came to an end. The terms that Grant gave Lee were very, very generous. Officers were allowed to keep their sidearms or horses, their personal baggage. Everybody who had a horse was allowed to take their horse or their mule back with them because they had to plant crops in the South in the spring. They've been fighting wars and nobody was planting the crops for the last few years. That needed to be done. And he also fed his men. Ulysses S. Grant gave General Lee a bunch of food because he had 27,000 starving troops who hadn't eaten. He fed them as well. General Lee went on to say that General Grant's terms of the surrender was one of the most important things that could have been done to help reconcile the country. The Civil War ended effectively on this date. In 1865, they fought for a few more months, but for the Confederacy, it was all over. Today is the 79th anniversary of one of the most famous concerts of all time. You know the story. Marian Anderson was supposed to sing at the Daughters of the American Revolution's Constitution Hall. They wouldn't have any of that because she's African American. So FDR and Eleanor Roosevelt stepped in and they made sure that the Secretary of the Interior would make the Lincoln Memorial available to Marian Anderson. And on April 9, 1939, 79 years ago today, she gave her famous concert on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And she began her concert with My Country, 'Tis of Thee. A good move there. Today is the 59th birthday of the famed Mercury 7, the first 7 astronauts announced by NASA on this date. You remember the Mercury 7? Scott Carpenter, Gordon Cooper, John Glenn, Gus Grissom, Wally Schirra, Alan Shepard, and Deke Slayton. There is the famous Mercury 7. That is the only photograph of all 7 of them in their spacesuits. And today is the birthday of indoor baseball. April 9th, 1964. It was an exhibition game between the New York Yankees and the newly christened Houston Astros at the Astrodome. 53 years ago today, the opening of the Astrodome, an exhibition game. The Yankees lost 2-1. The first ever base hit indoors. Mickey Mantle, the first home run ever indoors. Mickey Mantle, if you look at that picture from 1965, when they opened the Astrodome, it had real grass because the ceiling of the Astrodome, the roof was clear. So the sun would come in and the grass could grow. See how that worked? Well, there was a problem with that. Anytime a fly ball went up, the players couldn't see it. And so they painted the roof They painted the roof green, and then the sun didn't come in, and then the grass died. So they came up with AstroTurf. That's how AstroTurf got its name. And finally, one birthday to pass along to you, the legendary Paul Robeson. He did it all. In his 77 years, controversial figure, he first became well known as the first consensus two-time All-American football player at Rutgers University. He was the valedictorian of Rutgers University, class of 1919. He then went to Columbia Law School and graduated first in his class in 1922. He then turned to theater. He was in Othello. He, of course, sang Old Man River in Showboat. And then he landed on the Attorney General's list of subversives. He, quite frankly, supported the Communist Party. And when he was awarded the International Stalin Prize by the Soviet Union in 1952, his career essentially came to an end. Paul Robeson, born in this state in 1898. And that is your birthday at 30 minutes after the hour. Everyone is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. Don't forget Street Talk and other stuff at 10 o'clock this morning. Ron Evans from Radar Station. Ron Evans from Radar Station will be Mike's guest live, 10 o'clock from this very studio. Mike's commentary coming up, and then my conversation with Rona Barron, the Dangerous Woman Project, Year 3. And this Sunday you can check out Victorious at the Snowy Owl Theater. That conversation's on the way as well. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
My name is Valerie Gray. I'm the Nutrition Service Manager at Wenatchee High School. If the bond passes, it would mean that we would be capable of serving many more students in a more timely manner. It would eliminate a lot of equipment problems that we have now that slow us down and present challenges to us every day. Our equipment is old. We've learned to work with it as best we can, but not having to fight the equipment every day would be a huge bonus.
Hey there, Wenatchee. I'm Sean Lee, and I'm inviting you to come down and check out what we're all about at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Great beer, good food, and an endless source of entertainment for the whole family. Our Honey Blonde beer is flying off the shelves at your local grocery store. But I tell you what, it's even better on tap. And while you're here, try our signature Badger sauce with one of our delicious meals. Whether you're in the mood for a wrap, salad, pizza, or nachos, Badger Mountain Brewing has what you're looking for.
Till your equipment breaks. This Lennox dealer can help.
Keep your home comfort system running smoothly with regular checkups from Patriot Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. Call Patriot today.
Patriot Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. We'll give your home a hug.
Get up to $1,700 in rebates or special financing.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, there's been a good deal of discussion about school protection, and maybe, just maybe, this time we'll see some positive action. However, we need to get past these knee-jerk emotional reactions, stop pointing fingers at who we think is to blame, and stop, once and for all, stop waiting for the government to act. You know, banning bump stocks now may have possibilities for the future, some deterrence on a school shooting sometimes years from now. But let's face it, such action is merely a pacifier to political correctness, which will do nothing now to prevent or even deter the next school shooting. Now let's get real, folks. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Papa Murphy's presents a fresh take on fresh. Here's the deal. If it comes from a freezer, not fresh. Box, not fresh. Bag, not fresh. Fresh means just chopped vegetables. Cheese grated by us daily. Fresh means we don't even have ovens, because you have an oven. So you can feel good about feeding it to your home bake an XL NY pizza. topped with giant pepperoni and ground sausage on an extra-large foldable New York-style crust. Just $8.99. Papa Murphy's. Love at 425 degrees.
There's no substitute for the power of cable TV advertising. With Solion Cable TV advertising, you can reach your target audience right here in North Central Washington. We understand their viewing habits and can precisely target your customers on great cable networks like these. Call Solion Broadcasting today and let us show you how to put your business message right in front of thousands of prospects at a very affordable price. Solion Broadcasting, 509-888-2020. Just as we went on the air, Steve, NCW Life is live now on Facebook.
Hey, how's about that? We're live, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Dan Kuntz, your host for the next hour.
Every weekday, starting at 7 o'clock.
Get ready for a bunch of news that's coming your way.
Here's what's happening around North Central Washington. We'll have a rundown of all your local, regional, and statewide news. You can also find more on our website at ncwlife.com. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. That's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on NCW Life News.
And we are back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. This Sunday, the 15th, you can do one of two things. You can sit around your kitchen table and desperately trying to get your income tax filled out in time for the deadline, or you can do something much more entertaining and enjoyable. You can head to the Snowy Owl Theater at the campus of the Sleeping Lady Resort and watch a really cool show being put on once again by my friend Rona Barron, who is joining me in studio. She is putting on the third show in the Dangerous Women series. The title is Victorious.
Victorious. And that would be more fun than taxes, positively.
Yeah. Let's get right into it. This whole 19th Amendment, how's that working out for you? Is it a good thing?
Well, we can vote now, so
Yeah,
that's working pretty well.
The genesis of the show. Give people an idea of what they can expect on Sunday at 2 o'clock.
Well, you know, in 1920, which was almost 100 years ago, the 19th Amendment went into effect and women could win the right to vote, or won the right to vote. But before that, it was about a 100-year struggle to get that right. And what happened was the Constitution was formed in such a way that even though Abigail Adams said to John, remember the ladies in the new Code of Laws, they said, yeah, we'll remember them, we'll leave it for the states to decide if women can vote or not. So white men could vote, and then the states decided about women. And one, by 1820, they all decided women couldn't vote. And so that began this process of women, you know, trying to say, hello, we're here. We want to have a voice.
Tell me about the show. Is this how does the show flow? Because this is a different kind of artistic and cultural experience, isn't it?
Yeah, last year we did a show called Spellbound, and in Spellbound that was mystical women from history, and so we could pull from different times and have more leeway in a sense. This year we're telling a very discrete story that's been recorded very well. We have images from Library of Congress, photographs going back to 1850, and a history that people know about and understand, so it's much more linear. And I decided after taking a Write on the River workshop, a writing workshop, that we needed to form this around the hero's journey, the classic hero's journey. And so I thought about that in writing and developing the arc of this show, and made sure that we had that tough point when you have to hit the road, and the friends you meet along the way, the defeats you suffer, that final dark night of the soul, and finally a victory. So we sort of plugged all the characters into that.
So it's chronologically basically?
It has to be.
Yeah, I guess it's the only way for it to make sense, as you said. You brought a trailer with you.
Yes.
Yeah, and you made this yourself.
I did, and it was a lot of fun, yeah.
This is a general idea. This is a little tease of what's going to happen Sunday at 2 at the Snowy Owl Theater. It's the trailer for the show Victorious. Check it out. I'd like it. I'm looking forward to this. I got the list of the cast here. You got some heavy hitters here. Talk about the cast and talk about the casting process.
Yeah, so as Carolyn Wilson said, one of the 3 elected officials.
That's
in
the other
this
thing
cast.
I noticed. Yeah.
We wanted. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We wanted to have those women part of the cast if possible. So actually, J.C. Baldwin and Sherry Farvar, mayor of Leavenworth, are making cameo appearances, and then Carolyn is in the cast. And yeah, it's heavy hitters, so it's an interesting show. And actually, I believe that this is not being done anywhere else in America. So there are some history presentations, but typically they're written by a person or a group of people, and then the show is cast. In this case, many of our characters and our actors and painters and what have you bring their own work, and we incorporate that into the show. So for instance, Sally Singer, my good friend, is coming up from Walla Walla. She's a fabulous cellist. And she is portraying the dark night of the soul on cello. And Becky Fishburne, who used to run Tall Timber, is rapping, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Susan Butrell is our women's historian again. She has written and is portraying Susan B. Anthony. Mandy Wickline is back. She's a drama coach at Cascade, and she's portraying Alice Paul. Martha Flores is not an actress, but she's a poet and a painter. She's in the show. Well, you know what? We're going to see pictures of some of these people too, so I'll just sort of say Norma Ramirez, Holly Blue, Carolyn, Jen Crawford, some new people, Michelle Stutzman. People have probably heard of her. She's a personal trainer here.
She has her own show on this very TV station.
Okay.
So.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Momi Palmieri, Diana Davies, I want to talk about her. Terry Butler, Corky Broaddus, used to run the Salmon Festival, right? Amanda Ledesma, another leader, Angie Pluck. And then we have people behind the scenes that are crucially important to the show. And actually, I need to give a shout out to David Oppenheimer, who takes these images that we have from history that we've got from the Library of Congress, and he helps me insert them in the proper place in the show, and then he runs all the tech for the show, and our tech is quite complicated. So we want to say thanks to him and also to Icicle Creek Center for the Arts to allow us to have that time with him that it takes. And then I have a co-writer again on the East Coast, Ari Gabinet, and then my rap coach is also on the East Coast. So, you know, there's lots of people involved.
This is a story, and it has a narrator, somebody who ties everything together and keeps the flow going. We'll start our roll of pictures, and you can talk about that particular picture and the role that she plays and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so if people went to Spellbound last year, they know that we used that giant puppet as a character called Memory to sort of give background information. This year we've selected this woman. Her name was Inez Milholland, and she was 30 years old, and in the teens, 19 teens, she was a leader of the movement. She was a fabulous speaker. She was an educated lawyer. And she was an equestrian and athlete. And this is a picture of her as she led the famous parade of 1913 in Washington, D.C. And that role is played by Diana Davies, who some of you may remember as a kid acting in Leavenworth. And she's moved back to the Valley, and we've got her cast in this role. And she has taken on the task of writing the spoken word that Ari and I created for the show, and she's doing an amazing job.
Let's go to the next picture, and you can, this is the photo you talked about earlier. This is from the 1850s?
Yeah, so this process of seeing history when we actually have a catalog of it was wonderful. This is the Seneca Falls Convention. Elizabeth Cady Stanton convened it in New York. These are actual women that were there, and our opening number is a fun number that features this convention. There is bloomer dancing in it, and there is percussion playing in it, and there's a rap, and I have most of the cast on stage for the opening number.
To organize and gather like this for women, and there's a perfect example of that, they're sticking their necks out a mile here, aren't they, during this time period?
Yeah, Actually, you know, this is a bittersweet story because there was so much resistance to women. In fact, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who was such a leader, became friends with Susan B. Anthony later on. She used to wear bloomers under her dress, which just meant that it was your dress was 8 inches off the ground, just so it wasn't dragging. Mm-hmm. She felt like she could walk and garden and do the things she wanted to do, but when she spoke in public, people threw rotten food at her, and they reviled her just for dressing, quote, like a man. It was biblically incorrect. So, yeah, all those things were risky.
There's Susan B. Anthony.
Yeah, I want to make a comment about the women of the West, actually.
Well, go ahead, real quickly, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So the women of the West, the deal was that because some states allowed the vote, as I mentioned, by the late 1800s, some of the Western states, women could vote. And so the whole premise of this show is that Inez, the narrator, is spending a night writing this famous speech she gives, and it's to the women of the West, saying, lend us your votes because we want to help in defeating the party in power because we want to, you know, it's this process toward getting the right to vote nationally. So that's an interesting story.
It still took way too long.
Sometimes
I'm still upset about it. There's Susan B. Anthony, probably the most legendary single figure in the movement.
Yeah, let's talk about her and then maybe we can continue. Susan B. Anthony is really famous. She was ferocious, and Susan Butrell portrays her in the show, and she actually is taken to court in this famous attempt of hers to legally, in about let me see if I get this right, it was about 1875, to legally get nationally women, you know, the right to vote. And she wasn't able to make that happen, and it was a funny twist of fate as to why, and I won't give that away yet, but yes, she's in the show.
I'll tell you what we're going to do, because we're already about 11 minutes into our talk. We're going to take a quick break. We're talking to Rona Barron, the creative person behind the show Victorious, which will be at the Snowy Owl Theater on Sunday at 2 o'clock. More with Rona when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Join us for Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel. This former police sergeant is plugged into not only the world of the streets, he's an actor and connoisseur of the arts. So join Mike and his guest for, well, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mondays at 10 a.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m., and Wednesdays at 5:30. It's Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Magnotti on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Lehman Williams, General Manager of Crown Furniture, and I'm inviting you to take advantage of our spring closeout savings event. Save up to 45% off store-wide. Since 1963, Crown Furniture has taken great pride in providing unsurpassed quality, comfort, and selection. So if you're looking to fill that first-time apartment, or you want that built-in America quality with your own custom flair, stop by today and see us at 736 South Wenatchee Avenue, across from Stan's.
Hello, Wenatchee Valley. Christian Shanlin here with Bay Equity Home Loans.
Make your dream of building your own home a reality today. Bay Equity Home Loans has teamed up with Real Homes to make building your new home a smooth process. Bay Equity Home Loans of Wenatchee offers new construction loans, FHA 3.5% down, and VA 100% construction loans.
Stop on by or give us a call today.
Make sure you survive winter. Call Central Washington Heating and Air before it's too late. This winter, don't get shocked by the cold. Call Central Washington Heating and Air today.
And we are back. My guest today is Rona Barron. This is the third year that the Dangerous Women group have gotten together and put on an incredible show. This year's show is entitled Victorious, and it is going to be this Sunday at 2 o'clock at the Snowy Owl Theater. Let's pick up where we left off. We have more historic photos. You got all of this from the Library of Congress. It probably took you forever
I think
go
I must
through
have
them.
looked at 10,000 images, but they are legal for use, you know, and so they can become a permanent part of the show. So we only go, this is the story of American suffrage. We only go to England one time, and that's for my character. So I'm the director, but I'm also a performer, a writer, and the producer of the show with these 20 other women, you know, working on their parts. And so in my part, I'm rapping Emmeline Pankhurst. And I'll show you the hats here if you want to see them.
Yeah, go right ahead. Let's take, I was going to ask you about these.
Yeah. So, you know, I remembered the color you wear, so that's for you.
Oh, thank you.
Try it on.
What side does the bow go on?
Well, should we put it kind of so people can see the bow? Yeah,
Like
there
this?
you go.
Like this?
Yeah. Let's, yeah, exactly. And I'll put mine on so you're not alone.
There you go.
So the thing is, Emmeline Pankhurst took a different tact. She decided that women had to start to fight more because in England it was even worse, and she spoke on the streets of London. And she attracted a woman named Edith Garrod, and Edith knew jiu-jitsu. She was like 5 feet tall, but she trained a bodyguard for Emmeline Pankhurst. So Emily Weber convinced me that I should rap and have a jiu-jitsu bodyguard with me. And so I do, and I can do the first little line of mine. So this is how she comes out. It's London town and Bobby's on the beat, but proper English ladies refuse to retreat. The vote's not won by being sweet and frilly. We take the streets from here to Piccadilly. So that's how we start out.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I love it. We still got more photos to roll through. We're having a good time to see what we got.
Okay, so this is Alice Paul. Mandy Wickline is playing Alice Paul. And she was in England. The reason we go to England is because the militancy and the fighting back that happened in England became a big influence on American women and the movement. And Alice Paul was in England, came back, and decided we needed to fight harder. So there were
She
a couple,
looks determined.
well,
in
I know.
that photo.
We have these shots. You know, we've chosen certain shots that really show the character of how tough the women were. And this particular shot is of this, it's more hats, but it's of this famous suffragette parade in Washington, D.C. in 1913 that Alice helped organize, and that our narrator, Inez, led on her white horse that you saw earlier, Grey Dawn. And this was a huge event. It upstaged President Wilson, actually, and it brought more women than had ever been seen, more people than had ever been seen to Washington, D.C. So it was extremely significant. Oh, okay, let's talk about this briefly. I point this out that because women, the party in power then was the Democrats.
Was the Democrats. Woodrow Wilson was the president.
Yeah, and so, you know, you think of politics as a certain way, and it just has relevancy today. History always has relevancy because it helps you understand who you are, where you came from, what kind of choices you should make. And women did a lot of sort of pageantry and acting. They had a lot of ways that they tried to express themselves and what they wanted. And this is another example from Library of Congress of, you know, they're trying to make the Democrats listen to them. So I thought that was fun.
And remember, the Democratic Party 100 years ago was controlled by Southern conservatives, not necessarily Northern liberals. It was the Democrats were the party in power, but it's not the same party that you have now 100 years later. This is really cool. This is your art fundraiser. You're auctioning this off to raise some dough.
Martha Flores did this painting. It's called Swirls of Color. I had to crop it. It's actually bigger. It's longer. It's, I think, 18 by 24, something like that, or 24 by 36 maybe. And if you go online at this address you see, dangerouswomen.yolasite.com, it shows you how to place a bid. The painting is a $400 painting. We've just started this. The value right now is at $60. So if you want this beautiful original work from Martha, who many, many people know, she's one of my very favorite painters in this area, go to that address you see there and, you know, make a bid. Win this painting, and yes, it goes to the work of Dangerous Women.
And how big is the painting so people know if they're going to win it, where they're going to hang it?
Yeah, like I was saying, I think it's 24 by 36,
okay, so
something
it's
like
good,
that.
good size, good moderate size.
Oh, yeah, I'll leave it on.
Yeah,
we should leave our hats on.
We look great. Last year's show, Spellbound, sold out. to the Snowy Owl Theater. It's about, I've been there a bunch of times. I'm trying to remember.
2:30.
2:30. So if you show up at 1:30, the show's at 2 o'clock on Sunday. It's a matinee. If you show up at 1:30 just thinking you're just going to buy a ticket for $24 and walk in the door, you may be out of luck, right?
Yeah, the ticket sales are really brisk. There's a lot of interest in it. We're only doing one show, right? Which is like, wow, so much work for one show. But the point about Victorious is that the real anniversary is 2020 of the 100 years since the vote was won. And we would like to develop this project more and do a Victorious 2020 show also. We think, but you know, we're staging this one first. So do come support us, absolutely. And yes, it was sold out. I don't know the ticket sale number right now, but I think it's selling very well.
Logistically, real quickly, so people can make their plans, how long is the show? Is there intermission, that kind of deal?
Okay, so the show starts at 2 o'clock. We do have an intermission. You'll be able to see this painting in the lobby along with some other interesting aspects from the community. And then there's a second half, and as last year, we have what's called a talk back, where we stay on stage and let people talk with the cast and characters about their parts that they've created. The show isn't super long, and then again, we'll get in the lobby, and last year that was half an hour to an hour of people, you know, talking about the show and experiencing it sort of, and the characters come out.
One last question before I cut you loose. All 435 members of the House of Representatives are up for election this year. Over 300 women are running for the United States Congress. Are we getting there?
Well, what's interesting about that is that in 1920 the legal battle was won, but it was just the beginning of a continued cultural evolution. And so we're still seeing our culture evolve, I think.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
So equality is becoming more real.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Rhoda, it's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for the hat.
No, you don't get to get. That's actually Michelle's hat.
Oh.
No, it's Angie's. But.
Okay. I look good in it. Rhoda, thank you. And knock them dead. Break a leg, all right?
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. You're watching Wake Up in Anchi Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Join me for Life with Lisa Bradshaw on NCW Life. It's not about my life, it's about yours.
And we're back live here from Studio 4 in downtown Wenatchee. The interview that you just saw with Rona Barron was taped last Friday for airing today. Tomorrow, it's a live guest. Tom Nees, the Executive Director of Serve Wenatchee Valley, will be in this studio to talk all good things that Serve Wenatchee Valley is doing. Looking forward to that. He'll be my guest tomorrow. Your weather forecast looks really good for today. Lots of sunshine, high of 63 degrees, and then periods of rain. Off and on, unsettled weather is really the case for the rest of the week, as you can see right there. Nicest days of the week, if you like the sunshine, is going to be today and then on Friday as a continuing series of weak weather systems rolls in. Heaviest rain will be tomorrow morning. Heads up on that. And by the way, Stevens Pass has reopened. They are done with avalanche control work. Good news there. Everybody have yourself a great Monday. Say bye-bye, Curly.